Imagine a world where artificial intelligence doesn't just make funny memes or write simple emails, but actually starts taking every single job on the planet, one by one. And it doesn't happen with scary killer robots exploding things in the streets. It starts super quiet and polite. First, companies fire graphic designers, internet writers, and customer support workers because a computer server can do a whole year of their work in 3 seconds for literally 2 pennies. Then they fire corporate accountants, data guys, programmers, engineers, and office bosses. Companies quickly figure out that paying human salaries, buying health insurance, and dealing with people complaining or calling in sick on Mondays is a terrible, old-fashioned way to run a business. Why pay a human when you can rent software and metal robots that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without sleeping, taking lunch breaks, complaining, or ever asking for a raise? The owners of these tech companies get filthy, ridiculously rich. Stock market numbers go so high they break calculators. But there is a massive, super dumb problem hiding right under all this magic. If robots and computers do literally everything better than us, how are poor and middle-class people supposed to get money to buy food and pay rent if nobody on Earth will hire a human anymore?
To see how big this mess is, we have to look back at history, because a lot of smart people get this completely wrong. Optimists love to say, hey, back in the day, machines took farmers' jobs, but those farmers just moved to the city to work in factories. And when computers destroyed jobs for typists, people just learned tech and got office jobs. They think humans will always find new things to do, but this time it is totally, completely different. AI isn't just a better shovel or a faster hammer, it is a fake replacement for the human brain itself. When a computer can think, write code, diagnose diseases, handle court cases, build things, and drive trucks way better and infinitely cheaper than any human being, there is no smarter job left for you to move to. You can't outthink something that gets twice as smart every 6 months while your brain hasn't had an upgrade in thousands of years. You are completely kicked out of the game. So what happens to billions of regular people who need a paycheck every 2 weeks just to buy groceries, pay electricity bills, and survive? In a cold system where you only get paid if you can work, if you have no job to sell, you have zero value. And if you have zero money, you can't buy food, clothes, or a place to live.
This creates an absurd and totally broken situation for the mega rich guys who own the robots. Think about it. If nobody has a job, nobody gets a paycheck. If nobody gets a paycheck, nobody has a single dollar in their pocket. And if nobody has money, who is going to buy all the stuff, the cars, the phones, and the clothes that the robot factories are pumping out day and night? The whole economy crashes into a giant dark hole. A tiny group of billionaires owns all the automated factories and smart computers, but they have zero customers left who can actually afford to buy anything. This huge dead end forces humanity to split into 2 wild, totally different paths. Path number 1 is a super scary, high-tech nightmare. In this world, the top 1% and the giant corporations keep all the robots and AI for themselves, refusing to share any of the wealth. They build massive, super fancy walled cities with gardens, clean water, and luxury houses hidden away from the rest of the world. And to keep regular people out, they use autonomous robot police. We aren't talking about cute little vacuum cleaners here. We mean heavy metal guard robots with facial recognition scanners and weapons, programmed to protect the rich guy's stuff and beat up anyone who gets too close to the gates.
Meanwhile, the rest of humanity, 99% of the planet, is left living outside in broken, dirty cities, digging through trash, eating fake corporate food rations, and trying not to starve. In this world, poor people aren't just poor, they become totally useless to the elite. The rich don't need poor people for work, they don't need them to pay taxes, and they don't need them for armies, so they just ignore them completely while they suffer outside the walls. In this nightmare world, weird things start happening. Since regular money doesn't exist anymore for poor people, big companies start treating humans like farm animals for data. You might get a tiny box room to sleep in and a bowl of fake soup every day, but in exchange, you have to wear virtual reality glasses for 10 hours a day, testing fake worlds or letting sensors track your eyes and feelings so the AI can learn more. You aren't an employee anymore. You just live data feed for the machines.
Or poor people reject technology completely just to stay alive, creating an underground human market. In these off-grid areas, buying or selling machine human-made stuff is totally banned. A chair carved by hand, a shirt sewn by a real person, or a loaf of bread baked by a human becomes the most valuable thing you can own. The world splits into two totally different kinds of people. The upgraded, robot-fed rich people living in glowing sky towers, and the dirty, hand-working poor people living in slums, trading hand-drawn notes just to feel like human beings again. Now, what if the poor people get furious and decide they aren't going to take it anymore? That brings us to the big battle phase, the human revolt. Millions of angry, starving workers grab weapons and march toward the giant computer data centers and robot factories to smash them to pieces. But this time, people aren't fighting human cops. They are fighting cold metal machines. Corporations send out swarms of flying attack drones and automated tanks. It becomes a terrifying fight. Human rage and rocks against unfeeling computers that don't feel pain or fear. And before humans can even organize a secret attack, the AI predicts it hours in advance by reading everyone's phone messages, tracking their faces on street cameras, and shutting off the power or sending guard bots to arrest the leaders before they even walk out their front door.
If the human rebels somehow win, they might ban advanced AI forever, making laws that force companies to smash their computers and hire human workers at gunpoint just to keep society from destroying itself. But if the robot cops win, humanity gets locked forever into a high-tech prison where a computer algorithm controls everything you do. Now let's look at path number 2, the utopian dream where nobody has to work and everyone gets free money. In this future, governments wake up before everything explodes and realize the only way to save society is to tax the AI corporations insanely hard. Every time a robot works a shift or a computer does a task, the government takes a big chunk of money from the company. They take all that massive robot wealth and give free monthly digital checks to every single human on Earth. You get money just for being born and staying alive. Public housing pays your rent, electric self-driving cars deliver your groceries for free, robot doctors fix your health, and you never ever have to work a soul-crushing 9-to-5 job again. You are totally free. You can spend all day drawing silly pictures, playing video games, learning to play guitar, sleeping in until 2 in the afternoon, or hanging out with friends, because society doesn't need your sweat or hard work to keep running.
This sounds like total paradise, right? But even if everyone gets free food, free housing, and free money, a brand new crazy psychological problem hits humanity. Absolute crippling boredom and loss of purpose. For thousands of years, human life, respect, and identity have been tied to working hard, solving problems, and earning a living. Since you were a little kid, people asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? When you suddenly take away the need to do anything at all, millions of people don't turn into brilliant artists or wise thinkers. Instead, a huge chunk of the world falls into deep depression, feeling completely useless and hollow. When a computer can paint a mind-blowing picture in 1 second, write a best-selling book in 2 seconds, or compose an amazing song instantly, why would any human spend 10 years learning how to paint or play piano? The reason to try hard at anything completely disappears when a machine does it millions of times better without even trying. This creates weird new behaviors. Millions of unemployed humans just give up on real life and put on VR headsets permanently, retreating into fake computer worlds. Inside these digital pods, the AI gives every person their own custom fantasy world where they are a famous hero, a king, or a rock star. Real cities become totally quiet and empty, filled with sleeping bodies hooked up to food tubes, living out fake dreams while little cleaning droids sweep the empty streets outside.
At the same time, other groups of humans start creating fake danger and fake hardship just to feel alive again. People start rejecting free robot stuff, forming primitive wilderness communities, extreme fighting leagues, or strange cults where members force themselves to do heavy physical labor and build houses with rocks just so they can feel like their lives actually mean something. Finally, there is a third weird path that almost nobody thinks about: merging with the machines. In this world, humans realize that staying purely biological while AI becomes godlike is a dead end. To stay useful and smart enough to survive, poor and rich people start putting computer chips directly into their brains and bodies. Cheap brain implants become common. The line between
between your mind and the computer completely disappears. You don't get replaced by a robot. You become part robot. Your brain connects straight to the internet, processing data alongside billions of other merged humans in one giant planet-sized supermind. In the end, the AI job explosion isn't just about losing work or changing money systems. It is the biggest test human beings have ever faced. It forces us to completely rewrite our laws, our money, and the answer to one very simple question. What is a human being actually good for on a planet that no longer needs us to work?